I ask you all, what is sustainability? I guess that I will see 77 hands in the air, raised hands. If we speak about sustainable development goals, then we need to be brought to Agenda 2030 of the United Nations. And it is a plan for action for people, planet, and prosperity. And it tackles every policy area. It reaches every person on the planet, and it helps us grow further and leave the world to our successors. Today, we're about to welcome Simone Filippini, who is a former Dutch diplomat. I'm proud to say a personal friend, an ambassador, and a consul general, who was awarded the Diversity Award of the Dutch Foreign Ministry, as well as other awards. She was the CEO of the largest Dutch humanitarian and development organization, CORDAID, and is an activist for sustainable development, capacitating and empowering government leadership, diversity, and women empowerment. Simone has served in multiple voluntary functions, but today she is a member of the World Government Summit Dubai Global Council on SDG 16, led by former New Zealand Prime Minister Helen Clark. Simone is an international strategic advisor, concept developer, communication expert, and will speak to us today on the topic of Sustainable Development Goal 16, to promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. Simone is here with us, so she might take a few questions afterwards in the chat. But let's listen to the interview that Vice President Patti had with her and get inspired to work with local governments and partner with institutions, because together we can and together we will.
Good day and welcome back to our global conversation about peace. I'm joined today for this segment by Simone Filippini, who is currently engaged with the World Government Summit Dubai Global Council on the Sustainable Development Goal, SDG 16 particularly, which is the goal for social justice, peace, and strong institutions. She's also served as president of the UN Association for the Netherlands. She is a former diplomat and a strategic advisor. Welcome to our conversation, Simone.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
We're really thrilled to be in conversation with you today. You have had a very interesting journey professionally and personally. Tell us a bit about your journey and how you now are an advocate for our Sustainable Development Goal 16, which supports social justice, peace, and strong institutions.
Well, thanks so much for the question. It's a really good question, and it's my journey basically started as a child with my parents, who were very much into social justice. My father was a Catholic, always active to contribute to society, to a more inclusive and social justice-driven context. And so, I always say you cannot deny your education and your upbringing. And that is how it all started. And the older I get, the more I get dedicated to these issues, especially after I saw, both as a Dutch ambassador and as a CEO of 2 different NGOs, and in also being politically active, that we need so much more peace-driven governmental policies and action. Also policies driven towards social justice and building inclusive societies. And that can only be done through governmental leadership, political leadership, and very well functioning institutions. So basically, it was an increasing understanding of what the world needs to achieve sustainable change towards getting more peaceful, inclusive, and sustainable ecologically as well.
Was there a particular issue that, a social justice issue or a peace initiative that really galvanized your involvement or catapulted you into this work?
Well, to be honest, my visits to Central African Republic and South Sudan made a huge impression on me because I saw there that all those promises being made on implementing global agendas can never be achieved without peace, without political leaders taking responsibility for peace building and for delivering and encouraging social justice within their populations. I mean, what I saw there is that you can't escape it when you visit those countries to see that war, conflict, and lacking proper leadership drive people into the most dire circumstances. And these are all people like you and me, loving their families, wanting to have a better future for their children, but they can't. They had to go on the run to save their lives and those of their families. So that total lack of justice propelled me into trying to make a real difference, different from being in an NGO, but trying to set up something for myself, dedicated
You
towards
know,
this subject.
I appreciate your comments about that because once we've seen something, this social injustice that you witnessed, we can't unsee it. Now, you mentioned how important it is to advocate that our politicians do, in fact, pursue their commitments that they make on behalf of us, the people of the governments. So, how can we as individuals, just committed volunteers in our communities, how can we influence or impact the actions that are taken or not taken by our elected official?
Now, that is a good question. I think that it is a bit different in any context. It might not be the same for each and every representative listening into this conversation. But I think it starts with the realization that as individuals, you can make an impact. You have that power inside you, right? You can take people along. If you develop ideas, talking with others, trying to get a platform to develop support, together we can make impact. And it starts on an individual level.
And as I look at your work, um, focused on building strong institutions. That might be a benchmark by which we as individuals could decide, is this the institution that I want to be aligned with, or does this institution need to be held accountable? What How do you define a strong institution? What is the goal, the objective of this work around strong institutions?
Well, in the first place, our institutions need to work for the public good, for the common good. And a well-functioning institution is an institution that effectively implements the policies that have been agreed on at political level. For example, if you think of the Sustainable Development Goals, the global goals as they are sometimes also called by the UN, they are about getting rid of poverty, preventing people from having hunger, seeing to it that everybody has access to affordable and quality healthcare, to affordable and quality education, to clean water, to clean energy, to proper jobs, that no one is being excluded in our societies, that we have access to free speech, so that we are not being oppressed by our authorities if we open our mouth and protest, which is the right of us as citizens. So well-functioning institutions see to it that those basic services to the population are being guaranteed, and also that our basic rights are guaranteed as well. So we can measure them in that context.
That's a wonderful way to really implement the strategic development goals, the SDGs, on a very practical level. When we look at an institution, are they, this is our checklist. Are they guaranteeing all of these rights, which have been declared as the homework of all of us around the world, the work our world needs to do? I want to thank you for bringing that perspective today. I know that in the breakout rooms, there will be many people who want to discuss that further in the opportunity that we're going to provide them.